Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get into this. It looks like Tate definitely doesn't have cancer. Now, wasn't quite sure yesterday, and looking at some of the medical reports, it could have been, something that was in there that could get worse if he's not treated and back on his regular regimen. But according to at least whoever's running the account, it's all systems go, and you dumb bastards that are out there that have nothing better to do with your life, and I'm looking squarely at you, you dumb fuck who left 2 different comments on my video. Brother, you're getting no more gas. You got that shit pinned right up to the top. So if anybody's out there just wanting to have a good laugh, go peek homie from the previous video that's out there wishing death on a man's name. Hopefully your mom pays better attention to you so that you just don't start running off at the mouth. And perhaps she teaches you a thing or two, because maybe if you stick around a little bit longer, you might learn something. Maybe your life gets just a tiny, teensy bit better so that you don't end up doing some emotional bitch shit and landing yourself in jail. Kind of like a Morant. This goofy dude. Holy, what are you doing, man? Okay, like, this is some classic example that you can take the guy out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the guy. Like, what the fuck are you doing? There's so many previous examples of shit like this going intentionally bad. Just the one that immediately comes to mind, and you guys are going to remember this one because I take a look at the demographics and we're all about a similar age. You guys all remember Plaxico Burress? Now, there was no discharged firearms in this situation, but he ended up doing a couple of years upstate. Sure, he came back, but he wasn't nearly the same caliber of player after. But is Ja going to be looking at some jail time for this? Not quite. And a couple of other things depends, because I don't know all of the specifics about this right now, and chances are the world's a significantly different place than it was back a decade ago when that happened as opposed to today. So he'll probably get off scot-free, and nobody will hold him accountable for the 90th time. Like, this kid is brand new into the league. If you don't know who this is, to be completely frank, I've never seen a minute of him play. I don't know if he's good or not. All I know is, yeah, he's on the Memphis Grizzlies, and he's one of the burgeoning stars. He signed a record-breaking extension or some shit like that. I don't know for sure, man. I used to like sports like that, but then I grew up and turned 24 and stopped paying attention to the accomplishments of other grown-ass men and just decided to go make my life as notable as they do. Anyways, Grizzly star Ja Morant will be away from the team for at least its next 2 games. 2 games for this. Now, whenever I see somebody getting suspended, I want justification on this, because I'm not entirely sure he deserves to get suspended. Sure, he did some dumb stuff. Is it suspension worthy? We're going to have to peek it. The decision came about 2 hours after the NBA spokesman released a statement that said the league is aware of social media posts involving Ja Morant and that it is investigating. Morant appeared to flash a gun in an Instagram live video while at a strip club early Saturday morning. We got the clip right here. A shout out to Big Ac with the clip, and now they've got copyrighted music in the back, and realistically the first couple of seconds is all we need, because it's just a bunch of scantily clad folks in the background, and it's like, you're a multi-millionaire. You're going to a strip club acting wannabe hood. Like, the fuck, you have so much to lose and you're still doing all of this ratchet shit. Stop. God damn it, I hate Twitter videos sometimes. Anyways, but yeah, there he does, and then he just pulls it out, and then for the rest of the video, it's just him singing along to a bunch of hood shit with a bunch of, cretins in the background, just doing some really stupid shit. But no, what's actually important is that frame right there. It's blurry as a motherfucker, and you might not be able to make it out, but we got better pictures of that here. So back to his statements. I take full responsibilities for my actions last night. Well, it's actually first thing in the morning, but, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Morant said in a statement, "I'm sorry to my family, my teammates, coaches, fans, partners, city of Memphis, and the entire Grizzlies organizations for letting you down." No, you kind of have a pattern to this, and I wasn't exactly aware of all this weird stuff that he's been doing, but this guy's heading on a fast track to failure if he continues down this line, and if nobody's going to check him, nobody's going to hold him accountable, well, this is just going to be one of those classic examples of a star that burned out way too fast. I'm going to take some time away to help and work on learning better methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being. He really looked like he was all stressed out in this video right here, you know, just being all happy and partying at 20 after 5 in the morning. Like, bruh, come on. Now, yesterday they were in Denver. The Grizzlies were in Denver because I was trying to figure out, okay, he's out there waving a gun around. Now, if he was back in Memphis, they have constitutional carry laws. So him having a strap on him, absolutely nothing against that. But then I take a look where they could have been at the club. It might have been at Denver. It might have been in Colorado. And that right there poses quite a few problems because Colorado is a state that requires you to have a permit. And if you're carrying a firearm there, like you can see, and I pulled up statute here, him coming back to Colorado, him coming back to Denver in general, might be a bit of a problem. With very few exceptions, Colorado law makes it a crime to carry a knife or firearm concealed on your person. That's wild that a knife is included in this one. Without a current and valid permit, or bring a firearm or explosive device into a place where government business is being conducted. Well, I'm sure some of those people, some of those fine, esteemed ladies and gentlemen that work at said place, probably have seen a fair few governmental employees, if you know what I mean. They're all sketchy. First time violation of Colorado's concealed weapons law is a Colorado Class 1 misdemeanor, can be punished by a fine of $1,000 and or up to 364 days in jail. So day under a year because it's a misdemeanor, not a felony. Second and subsequent events within 5 years is a Colorado Class 5 felony, and then it gets ratcheted up. I don't know anything about the rap sheet of Morant. I'm not thinking he's acquired that many offenses in the state of Colorado, so, you know, probably unlikely here. Penalties can run as high as 3 years in prison or a fine of up to $100,000. And for somebody who makes that much every single time they dribble up and down the court, it's not that much money, hence the reckless behavior. So realistically, and I'll link out to this if you want to take a look at the rest of the statute. They got it all laid out right here, like what is a concealed weapon, and obviously what Jaw was doing, well, you know, flashing it around, you know, he had it on his person. Was it in a waistband? Well, there's also other previous acts that are out there as well that's kind of his style. So yes, would need a permit. I just don't necessarily think they'd pursue it. Though the details of Morant's video are unknown, the 23-year-old is on his 4th NBA season and has been involved in a string of off-the-court issue, which the Washington Post detailed in the story published Wednesday based on records the outlet obtained. And yeah, this is where things just become completely and utterly ridiculous. He also drew criticism for celebrating three-point shot with finger guns reactions on Thursday night. And this was all before, because this happened early this morning. And not his previous bad behavior that's been fairly well documented. According to the Washington Post story, Morant allegedly had off-court incidents involving a mall security guard and a teenager. Morant allegedly punched a 17-year-old in the head during a pickup basketball game. What? And later flashed a gun towards him. See, this guy is just out here being reckless. Now, the Washington Post reported that Morant filed a police report following the same incident because the teenager was going to come back and light this place up like fireworks. Multiple issues right here, okay? You're engaging in a pickup basketball game. You're probably well known in certain circles. I would imagine they probably know who you were, and if they didn't after they were playing the game, they would realize that this motherfucker's either a ringer or they already knew who you were. So let's keep it a buck. And then also, it's like, okay, you're making how much money and you don't have security that can carry licensed firearms to protect your dumbass at all times, and you're being the one out here on the streets being reckless? What are you doing? In separate statements, Morant's lawyer and agent both denied the report. Agent Jim Tanner called the story irresponsible and defamatory. It is the Washington Post, so I look at that very, very side-eyed. Any and every allegation involving a firearm has been fully investigated and could not be corroborated, Tanner said in a statement. In part, this includes the NBA investigation last month, in which they found no evidence. All right, then. So, yeah, it's very interesting that this report would come out just a couple days before he goes out to a strip club and starts waving around a firearm all willy-nilly. It gives people reason for pause. Morant has averaged 27.1 points per game through 53 games, while also adding 8.2 assists, 6 rebounds. What position does he play? Murray State star, second overall pick in 2019. has been selected to the All-Star game in the last 2 seasons. That's wonderful and fantastic, but he's out here doing reckless, stupid shit on Instagram Live in front of just about 1,700 people. The fuck are you doing, dude? Like, you all iced out, tatted up, you got your grill in, and then you got some shitty 40 caliber Glock. Like, you got fucking bitch piece. It'll still end a threat just like that, but if you're really that dude, you have security, my guy. Or at least you have the wherewithal not to be fucking waving that shit around, dumbass. Christ almighty. So yeah, a little bit more on a previous report. Morant was sued in September for clocking a 17-year-old in the face during a pickup game at his Tennessee mansion. At his own place, he gets beat up. Well, that sucks. And you got a 17-year-old over? Like, outside of running a youth camp or maybe having a relative over? Why the fuck do you got a 17-year-old at your house? Anyways, on a Wednesday, the Washington Post reported that the late July incident could have been much worse. Teen told detectives Morant hit him like 12 to 13 times and went to his home after the scuffle, returned holding the handle of a gun tucked into his waistband, the outlet reported. Ooh. His dad was yelling at him like, no, 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 go back in the house, the teen told cops. His father? Well, his father is also enabling all of this poor fucking behavior, but we'll talk on him a little bit more. Prosecutors said there was not enough evidence in that case to pursue criminal charges. There might have been security cam footage around this supposed mansion that's out there, but yeah, it would be incredibly tough to prove if we're going to keep it a buck. Like, it's a lot of he said, she said, he's pretty famous, the other guy's a 17-year-old, like, unless your face is caved in or he just hits like a bitch, which most modern NBA stars are likely to do. Like, there would be significant signs, but hey man, if this was a girl making these allegations, he would already be turfed out of the league. Let's be honest. Jim Tanner, he called everything, oh, irresponsible, defamatory, blah, blah, blah. Morant drew even more criticism after the Washington Post story broke when performing, finger guns. It's like, I like the swag, but then you follow that up with, well, it's embarrassing to go to a strip club to begin with, but especially when you got such a tiny piece. Pause. He was also investigated by the NBA earlier this season after members of the Pacers accused associates of his for pointing a red laser at them following a confrontation in January. And that's where I've got to, and this is a very weird connection and something that I never really thought that I would unironically say. I got to agree with Shannon Sharpe. Normally he's just a blowhard asshole, and then that Undisputed show is just generally unwatchable. But he makes a good point here, and if there's somebody who knows about having a braggadocious attitude on and off the field, in his case, but for Morant on and off the court, like Shannon Sharpe knows how to move. And he's pointing out that if you want to have a long career, you need to figure out a very real truth. Can't be hanging out with fucking bums, dude. Fox Sport analysts criticized the Grizzlies Superstar guard. Oh, he's a guard. Okay. On Monday, the day after it was reported Morant's entourage trained a red laser on members of the Pacers traveling party. I wish Ja would realize he's not a thug, Sharpe said on his Undisputed show. Ja's a really good basketball player, and Ja did everything he could to lift himself and his family out of this environment and to get away from this, and for some reason he wants to surround himself with these type of people. Why? Bruh, you not hard. That's not your life. People that are in that life would give anything to be in your life. According to The Athletic, Morant's best friend, Devontae Pack, along with a crew of others, had to be separated after exchanging words in a loading area of the FedEx Forum, so at the Grizzlies arena. Morant's entourage left when he arrived, and someone allegedly pointed a red laser at the Pacers party. Several witnesses believed the laser was potentially attached to a gun, or it was just a bitch fucking laser pointer. But even still, does it really much matter? If your friends are causing this type of ruckus, and you have how many hundreds of millions of dollars to lose? Yeah, for some reason you got a $200 million contract and you want people in the NBA to think you're hood. You think you gangster because you roll with these type of people. Bro, you're putting yourself in harm's way when you don't have to. Nobody looks at Ja and thinks, man, that's a thug. He hood. He down. He about that. No, you're not. Stop pretending. All you do is yap and talk. Oh, I'm going to let him live and see another day. I'm going to do this. You not going to do anything. You not going to get yourself into that trouble. Put yourself and your family in harm's way, and you don't have to. He's 1000% correct. It's that old saying that is 1 bajillion% true. You are the summation of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And if you are supposed to be the centerpiece of the Memphis fucking Grizzlies, for Christ's sakes, that team is placing a lot of value on you to be the leader into the future. And you want to continue to get sturdy for the gram? Because there's so many good examples of players in the NBA. On both sides of this. Do you want to be Kobe or do you want to be Allen Iverson? Do you want to be MJ? Do you want to be Stevie Franchise? Your fucking choice, man. All of those guys have tremendous talent. 2 of them ended up having a very discombobulated career. The other 2 are 2 of the 5 greatest players of all fucking time. 2 of them were dedicated to their craft. The other ones were dedicated to trying to claim the streets. Sharpe, a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Yeah, 2 with the Broncos. Did he win? I think he won the one with the Ravens. Yeah, I think he won the 2000 championship with the Ravens. Was involved in a high-profile on-court incident with the Grizzlies in January in which he had to be separated from Morant's father, Tate, who was enabling all of this terrible fucking behavior. Like, holy. The altercation was followed weeks later by Memphis guard Dillon Brooks getting suspended for the melee with the Cavaliers star Donovan Mitchell on February 2nd. That's what you want your reputation to be. There's going to be an awfully small, short life for you, my guy. Or you need to let that go, because that's not you. It's not. Let's stop pretending you're hard, but you're not, Ja. You're opening yourself up. You're putting yourself in a position you don't need to be in. And for what? For street cred. You got yourself up out the streets. Shannon's 1000% correct. Like, he knows those guys. He grew up with those guys. And you know what? He transcended those guys. There are people right now in the NBA that want what is best for you. Those guys, you might have loyalty because you came up with them. But guess what? They chose one path. You chose another. You became a superstar. They chose to be your entourage. And what type of man wants to try to glom onto somebody else's talent? What kind of man wants to be a groupie for another dude not making themselves any better, wanting to go and do stupid fucking hood shit at a strip club? It's tough to get rid of old friends. Somebody who had to walk away from an entire group of friends who just weren't fucking doing anything with their life. I'll just keep it a buck. They were content, drinking, doing the occasional drug, not going anywhere else in life, just wanting to bitch, moan, whine, and complain, never advance their spot in life, continue to be terrible with the vast amount of money that they had coming in. Sure, they had wonderful and great jobs that were out there, buying a bunch of stupid fuck shit, spending so much money at the bars, so much money out there at the club, buying a bunch of trinkets, hoping and praying that would make them good with women. But in actuality, who was the guy who was actually bringing bitches to the party? Yeah, exactly. You can't continue to surround yourself with fucking dorks. It will just continue to drag you down. I'll tell you a little story about something that was fantastic that happened to me just yesterday, in fact. I was out there in the evening. I had to do some of my make sure Dawn survives for the next week shit, like go buy some groceries and take care of a couple of other things that aren't channel and brand related. Ugh, God, that sounds so gay, but even still. Personal stuff. I had to go do some personal stuff last night. I was just buzzing around doing a couple of things, and then I look up and I see a friend that I haven't seen in 4 or 5 years. I can't even remember the last time I seen him, but I talk about this often. Male friendships and female relationships are totally different. Like, if 2 women meet after years, there would just be some superficial, oh my God, we just need to go together. We just need to get coffee. And then they'll just shit talk. It's like, oh my God, girl. It's like, oh my God, what the fuck happened to her all this time? Oh my God. But I look up and I see one of the best friends that I ever had in my entire life. Hadn't seen him for a long time. And then I look up and it was just like nothing ever changed. We only talked for like 5 minutes. It was him and his lady that he's been with for, God, just about a decade at this point in time. And their little kid. It was so great to see them because they were all doing exceptionally well. Like, yo, he's hardworking. His lady's taking care of their new beautiful child. It was amazing to see. And I was overwhelmed with the amount of happiness I was feeling for them. And I was so happy to see that because I knew that my friend right there, he was making all of the right moves for him. And now that's paying off in spades. And yo, back in the cut when we were hanging out, like we would do stuff that were advancing our positions. It was my best friend from back in college. Like we were always working. We were always going to the gym together. We were the hypertrophy brothers. It's a long story. Very, very, very funny as well. And it's funny that it would happen on this weekend as well, because we would all of us, him, his girl, a couple of the guys from class as well. I'd bring something along with me as well. We'd go out and we'd watch UFC fights at one of the bars that were out there, and we'd all just have a really great time. And one of the fights that we went and seen, whole group of people, was John Jones winning the light heavyweight championship, or no, I think it was defending against Lyoto Machida. I think that's what it was. Or Shogun. Did he win it off Shogun or Lyoto Machida? Regardless, it's just very funny and very coincidental that now John Jones is coming back and has a good chance of winning the heavyweight championship here tonight. So before I get too sappy and reminiscent, it just really solidifies that if you're a good person, if you surround yourself with hardworking people, eventually it's going to pay off. And that is a lesson. If John Morant doesn't take, he's just going to be another name in that long list of talented but troubled superstars that the NBA has seen come and go and will continue to see come and go. Same thing happens in the NFL when you have your diva wide receivers that are just all the rage until something happens when they have a reason to just get you off the team, and then nobody fucking wants you. Just go ask Terrell Davis, just go ask Chad Johnson. Talent is plentiful, but character is what's going to keep you around. So, with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.